Welcome to the Bumblecast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle JCRB Kraus.
Ooh, yeah, dig it. I'm here. I'm ready. Ian, you have become such a hot dogger. You've become such a prima donna. I can't believe this. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here. Yes, hi.
See, I was going to do this show kind of low energy because I don't have a lot to give. But are you calling me out into the square circle, Mr. Kraus? You calling me the hot dog? You can't handle my chili sauce, sir. This is my cast, my Bumblecast. I bumble. I am the king of bumbling. So don't you come to me and start any of that crap.
I have been outdone. I've been outdone. I've been outclassed as per usual. I was watching I was watching Macho Man promos last night.
There we go.
And I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. I love this. This guy,
he's mesmerizing.
He really truly is, and he is. I mean, he's one of the best. He's one of the best of all time. I can't believe it, but. I mean, clearly he was out of his mind.
No, high as a kite. Yeah.
He was out of his mind on drugs. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they all were at that time. So between the steroids and the coke.
But he turned it into something immortal. Rest
Truly.
in peace, you glorious son of a gun.
Truly, truly immortal. Thankfully, he did not last long enough to become the villain that his contemporaries have nowadays. He managed to avoid that fate. So are we ready? Are we ready to actually get into this? And yeah, we're both tired. It's like this time. It's so freaking hot here. Just going outside is exhausting, even for a minute.
I would imagine it's been unseasonably cool here, like springtime weather, which is great. It's weird.
Lucky you, it's getting to be about 118 around these parts.
Good Lord, no, sir.
Certain times of the day, yeah, I don't recommend it. That's why we mostly try and do our best to stay inside at all times, but sometimes it's hard to avoid. Way too hot. So
yeah. Good night.
Yeah. Do not recommend. It's nice in November, though. Well, actually, no. It's not that nice in November these days. It's still a little warm. It takes until like December, January before it finally gets cool enough. By which I mean it finally gets into the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, no. Not enough money.
Anyway, sorry to all of our international listeners who have to go look up Celsius or Fahrenheit to Celsius converters. So
yeah, just at that point, it's bad.
It's
just bad.
It's warm. 50 degrees.
I mean,
50 degrees
bad.
Celsius. Let's just say that. It's about 50 degrees Celsius. Yeah.
God.
It's bad.
Shoot me.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, we got anything else we want to talk about other than the freaking weather?
Because we do that a lot. But now we got a lot of questions, so we're just going to get into it. If you want to have your question answered here on the show, you can email us at bumblecast@yahoo.com, tweet to us at bumblecast, comment on any YouTube video. Yes, any YouTube video. You can comment somewhere on the Patreon page, or you can ask in the Q&A channel on the Patreon Discord, which is exclusive to patrons. If you want to get your question answered sooner than later, you can become a priority questioner by becoming a $5 member on patreon.com/bumblecast or sending $6 our way via ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/bumblecast. Make sure to include your name and your question. Otherwise, we will have no idea what is going on and we'll just happily take your money. Now then, if you were going to ask something about the early Archie Sonic days that will be covered in Lost Hedgehog Tales, we're not going to answer it. If we answered it within the last couple of episodes, we're not going to answer it. If it's covered on the FAQ on bumbleking.com, and there are lots of FAQs, not going to cover it. So please meet us in the middle, do a tiny bit of research, save yourself some time, and then ask your question.
Excellent. Let's dig right into this very, very meaty priority Q&A segment. We have a lot. First up, none other than Andrew D. If no life existed in Silver's future before he returned to the past to help fight against the metal virus, then how was he born? Does changing the future mean that he is instead creating an alternate future and traveling to that new one and ultimately leaving his original doomed future behind to somewhere to remain doomed? And regardless, when he returned to his future to see no life and sparse metallic plant life, I find it hard that he didn't touch anything at all. That's awkwardly phrased, but okay. Was he super duper cautious and didn't touch anything, not even the ground, or was the metal virus no longer contagious at that point in time? Why would animal life deteriorate but not plant life?
Okie dokie. So, lots of questions in this priority question.
That's normal for Andrew.
Yeah. We'll take it the easiest first. The comic actually addresses the animal cellular structure versus plant structure. In, I forget which issue off the top of my head, but Dr. Eggman explains that because botanical cell structure is more rigid in nature, it is able to withstand the degradation of the metal virus better than animal-based cells. And even then, it would take somewhere within 200-something years for it to fully degrade. That's why there's still some metal plant life left behind, but you don't see any people. On top of that, it's also mentioned that the virus has been mutating since its initial deployment. So it's possible that by the time it got to 200 years down the line, it had just stopped becoming virulent. Now, that's kind of why Silver wasn't affected by it, also because, his TK powers inconsistently are able to mess with electronics. So that's kind of a hand-wavy explanation. Another part of it revolves around how Silver time travels, and that is the $1 million question because it is a mess. It is a big, gooey, left out in the sun too long, covered in ants mess. Now, from what I have been able to put together with my correspondence with Sega over the years, is it plays by multiple time travel trope rules. So that the Blue Skies future, as they refer to it, the future we see at the end of 06 after Iblis has been dispelled, is the future. So it's kind of like Trunks at Dragon Ball Z. He solved the issue and now his future is rebuilding and okay. But at the same time, it has to be affected by past events because the story that they wrote for the Sonic Forces tie-ins has Silver come back in time to warn Knuckles of the imminent threat that is Infinite and the Phantom Ruby and all that. So he has to have some kind of impact of the past upon his present. But that doesn't make sense because it's a static future since it's the whole blue sky scenario. So at this point, I've given up. Kyle, I have tried to figure this out since 06, and the answer is there is no answer. It has been just not implemented with any consistency. I have seen a lot of very insightful and very hardworking fans put together these scenarios that would try to explain it, try to pave over the bumps, and assume that there is a greater thinking behind it. And I'm sorry to say, from all my experience, there is not. It's, here's how we're approaching it this game. Here's how we're approaching it this game. Here's how we're approaching it this game. And if there is a through thread, it is not necessarily stable. So that's the best I got for you, is that Silver is from the future, in quotation marks. And that's why he's still around, because there is no causality to this except when there is. And it drives me up the friggin' wall.
The future is an alternate dimension. That's it. That's all it is, probably.
But it can't be, because otherwise, why would he care about the prime dimension? It's always the same Silver coming
because
back.
He's Silver. He's too nice.
Silver is a good boy, so I guess that works.
I suppose. Why does Blaze keep coming back even though she's from a different dimension? Why does she care?
Because the will of the soul emeralds.
Exactly. See? It doesn't matter. You can come up with this. You can come up with these explanations.
I like your Silver as a good boy scenario.
I mean,
golly gosh, I need to go back in time and stop the Iblis whatever or the Infamajigger, and I have to go back now.
For some reason, he reminds me of Marty McFly now.
Oh, man, Sonic, this is heavy.
Yep. Silver's just too much of a good boy. He's just too nice. All right, here we go. Diane W. is up next. In the future, altered by King Sonic, speaking of more time travel shenanigans, Shadow was the one who took down the Eggman Empire and became a tyrannical ruler for the sake of world peace until Sonic, Tails, and Lara Sue ended his reign. What were the events in the altered future that led to Shadow destroying Eggman and his empire and beginning his tyrannical rule?
Okay, so you know how normally I have all this deep, unused lore that I really would have wanted to implemented certain places and explain everything away?
Sure.
This is not one of those moments.
Really?
This is actually one of the rare moments where I just kind of paved it over and said move ahead. Because the 2-part future story that I did was under the stipulation that I had 11 pages each to wrap up the entire Mobius 25 years later slog, and I had to have an evil King Shadow. Those were the stipulations. I had to work within those confines. And I said, okay, fine, but if we're doing this, I have to make Lara Sue cool. Not someone who goes and cries in the bathroom, someone who actually does something because she's the daughter of Knuckles and freaking Julie Sue. And the editor was like, yeah, sure, do that. So that's why we had an evil King Shadow. And it was very well received to the point where we had the follow-up story, which was a nightmare and a half to get approved because that's when Sega decided we couldn't do that kind of story anymore. Anyway, I knew there would be a lot of questions about what happened in the intervening 30 years, but I also wanted to focus on the characters and the setting that was the 30 years later scenario. So we could either spend all that time building a bridging continuity that really wouldn't have any effect on anything because the main continuity is not going to follow it. It's an alternate future. And it's not really doing anything for the present storyline because we're building forward. We don't really need to look back. So I did enough of it to explain, at least try to rationalize what was going on with King Shadow, just so he wasn't randomly evil. And that's pretty much it. Like, there might have been ideas here and there to fill in the blanks, but what I really wanted to do with the 30 years later scenario was build a new continuity and grow from there. Sure, it's fun to, see what would have happened in those 30 years, what happened, but that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was King Sonic and the new future Freedom Fighters and building that new world and the next generation.
And our next question comes from Chris A. Hey, and so I'm wondering, is there going to be a TV show or game based on pre-reboot Archie Sonic? I mean, everyone would really love to see that, and you get to see your old characters again?
No, pre-reboot Archie is dead forever.
And here's one from AWF. Could Wisps be infected by the metal virus?
That is a good question. I don't know. I am not sure how that would work because they can exist within mechanical objects and biological objects, but they themselves seem to be an energy-based life form. So if their energy matrix is something resembling a cellular structure, maybe the metal virus could corrupt that, but they might be immune. Huh.
Well, you missed out on exploring that.
Well, clearly the metal virus saga wasn't long enough. I should have added another couple issues.
Should have added another, attached another 6 months onto it. Sure, I'm pretty sure people really want to keep reading that when a real virus is spreading across the real world.
There's a select group of the fandom screaming right now, "Don't you dare! It's done! Leave it alone!"
It's a little late anyway. You're not writing for the main series anymore.
Well, that's true.
That ain't going to stop people from blaming you for whatever happens in the main series from here on out, but...
Well, clearly I need to go back in time. Silver, how are we doing? Let's go!
Yep, you got to go back in time. Hop in Silver's time DeLorean. It matches. That's why he has one.
You are absolutely right.
Uh-huh. Alrighty, here we go. Here's one from Ink Pants. I was curious what your more personal thoughts might have been when you were gearing up to write Sally's multiple sacrifices, getting shot and roboticized at the beginning of the Mecha Sally arc. Self-sacrifice screams Sally Acorn, but this was probably the single most devastating experience for the FF and for many readers. I have to imagine that was a fairly painful/difficult story to write, even with knowledge of how it would conclude. I know it punched a hole right through my heart.
Good. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it. The double death cheat is not something I'm particularly fond of, but it was something we had to do by the nature of the crossover. No, not the crossover. That was the Genesis event. There we go. But, you know, it's one of those moments where the editor says, hey, we're doing a thing. And it's like, all right, we're doing a thing. Let's make it work as best we can. I don't like death cheats in general unless they are built a certain way. Or they're built in a way where you know it's not a death cheat. It's more that you're reading the character's reactions to something that you know is not a permanent event. Like, if you're pulling a death cheat on the characters, I feel like that's a world different than pulling a death cheat on the readers.
Right, yeah.
That's like when we blew up Shadow and Mayor Dorado in Worlds Unite, because I was told you need to kill somebody off to make this more impactful. And it's like, what? Who are we going to kill off that means anything, but we're going to hit the cosmic reset button? Fine, I'll kill off Shadow because nobody will believe that we actually killed off Shadow. So I feel like it's less of a bad death cheat because I'm not going to fool anybody with it. Except I did, and I feel bad about that. But that's not the question. The question was about Sally. And I was excited about the storyline when we were putting it together because we were taking this iconic character, someone who was the heart and soul of the freedom fighters, the brains behind the operations, and making her their worst enemy. Someone that they really would not want to hurt, but they wouldn't have much of an option otherwise. And unfortunately, I didn't expect, one, just how much the backlash over Antoine's death there would be. I knew folks would be upset, but it was a much bigger response than any of us thought we were going to get. And Sally's was just icing on top of that cake. Lots of icing. Whole can, not even spread, just pour it on top. So the editorial direction was to rein it back, to not have Sally be too successful so that the heroes could continue to be moving forward in a positive direction. Didn't want it getting too negative. And I felt like that undercut what the entire point of the Sally arc was. So she was still, you know, doing bad things, but it didn't feel like it had as much of an impact as I initially wanted. And then ultimately the resolution was thrown out the window because reboot. But my feeling towards it overall was excitement more than anything else because I knew what was in store. I knew how we were going to resolve it. I knew about the big happy ending at the end. So I was excited to see how readers would react as they went for the whole ride and, you know, the ups and downs and, you know, how they would feel at the end of it. And all we really got was the janky ascension up the roller coaster, and then it just fell off the side. So, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's get to one from Scruffy Matt. There are a number of ROM hacks available on the web which allow you to play Sonic games as different characters such as Shadow, Eggman, or Sally. There are even some official Sonic games where you can play as alternate characters such as Knuckles in Sonic 2 or Tails in certain ports of Sonic CD. If you choose any past Sonic game, classic or otherwise, to be altered or modded so that you could play as Tangle or Whisper, what would you pick?
I think just off the top of my head, Tangle would work best in maybe SA2. Especially the speed sections. I feel like she would have that kind of kinetic arcadey energy. You know, bop off this robot, slide down this rail, go up this ramp, bop off another robot, loop around that curve. It feels like it would fit her personal kinetic form of gameplay. I would like to see maybe Gamma's game out of SA1 refitted as a Whisper campaign. See how the Wisps could potentially be used in different ways, since Gamma's game is built all around, you know, shooting lots and being fast. So Whisper would have to be a little more methodical than that, but that might be interesting. I don't know if she would quite fit the shooting sections of SA2 since they feel, to me anyway, different from Gamma's. A little less exploration, a little more shooting gallery, but maybe that's me.
Yeah. Whisper is a hard one because there really aren't many games with like shooting mechanics. I guess Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, maybe.
If you also like really tweak the gameplay on that and completely like change the story and everything. If you did like a complete overhaul of Shadow the Hedgehog and put Whisper in that, maybe it'll work.
Well, you might be onto something there, since he had a variety of different weapon styles.
Exactly.
The variable Whisper could fill in those roles. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I could think of, but it couldn't be like the same game otherwise. Not really.
No, but I don't know. You could maybe recontextualize some of the missions in a different way.
You can still find the computer room, luckily.
Absolutely.
That's nothing. You don't have to change that at all.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to think. Like, there's no real like Spider-Man style thing for. Because I could see like Tangle. It's like if you could kind of whip around with the tail, if you could travel around using your tail. I don't know. Maybe that could be something that could work in the 2D games if you added like hooks everywhere. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Just put them in a game somewhere. Put them in a full game. Put them in a real game. I mean, phone games are all right, but put them in a full on game. Someone do that, Sega. All right, next one comes from Jay. A few episodes ago, Ian said that IDW Eggman isn't related to IDW Gerald. What's the story behind this? Personal thing? Sega policy? What's up?
Did I say that?
I think you
I
did.
Don't remember.
Yeah, I think you did.
Did I?
Yeah, we had a question about that. Yeah.
Well, I was wrong because he is, unless that's changed. Maybe I misspoke.
Yeah, I thought you did. I thought you said he wasn't.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh.
It's sad being senile before 40.
Don't worry. I'm right there with you, buddy.
I might have to go back and re-listen to that.
I
don't know.
I think he's not incorrect. I believe that's what you said.
I don't remember that at all. Well, that's wrong. They are, as far as I know, unless something else has changed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, easy answer, I suppose. And finally, for the priority Q&As, we got one here from Blue Title Gamer. Actually, we technically have two, but we'll get to that. With Evan taking over for the main IDW book for the next saga, and you assisting here and there with it, I was curious if there's any hope of Cream sticking around with the main cast from this point on, depending on future stories.
Again, don't want to steal any of Evan's thunder, but if you've seen the solicits, you know that Cream is coming back. They also have a question for you, Kyle.
Uh-oh.
For Kyle. With Microsoft turning Xbox into more of a platform with multiple ways to play their games, do you personally wish to see something similar for Sony and Nintendo?
I am cautiously optimistic about Microsoft currently, but I mean, I don't know. I think they're pulling good things for the most part. They're not 100% perfect in my book. I mean, these game companies very rarely are, but I'm hoping that Microsoft kind of keeps up their streak with it, and I would really like to see at least Sony start to play ball a little bit more as far as like multi-platform stuff and cross-platform play and things like that. Luckily, they are starting to kind of see the light and releasing stuff on PC, because we just got Horizon Zero Dawn came out on PC, I think, just this week. And of course, you got PlayStation Now, so you can technically play PlayStation games on your computer via the cloud. Whether it's playable or not, I actually don't know. I haven't looked into PlayStation Now very much. Based on my experiences with Stadia, I don't have much hope, but at least it's something, I guess. It would be nice to see Nintendo also kind of dabble in some of that stuff, but I don't really see it happening, so at least not within the next generation or two. Nintendo is obviously very behind, and they're kind of set in their ways. They keep to themselves, so I don't know. I mean, the fact that there is an official Mario game on cell phones now would normally be an indicator of them maybe opening up a little bit more, but it seems like the mobile thing has not really worked out for them, and they aren't really interested in pursuing it any further, so I don't know. But I would like to see both of them do that and do some more consumer-friendly things after 2 generations of anti-consumer practices, at least from a lot of other publishers. So, yeah, that's it, really. Are we ready to move on into the standard Q&A, Ian?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Here's one from Tick Tick. Recently, I heard a theory that the 2 worlds is actually a mistranslation and that Iizuka really meant something more metaphorical than literal. Has Sega clarified this to you, that it is in fact 2 separate worlds or dimensions? Or is that just an assumption you're going with? From what I can tell in the games, the idea that the human world is made separate from the furry world could just be that Sonic Team doesn't think humans fit the flavor of the games they're making, not that they literally exist in another dimension.
I have seen that attempt to rationalize things, and it's very insightful. It just shows, the level of nuance that comes from, translating between 2 different languages and how things can go very wrong very fast. So kudos to that person for making the effort. However, I have been instructed at multiple points in my career that it is literally 2 different planets. I received a series Bible towards the end, I want to say, of the Archie Sonic days that specified that they are 2 different planets in 2 different dimensions. And when we were starting up the IDW book, I specifically asked about that. How are we going to set things up for the book? What can we use? Why are we setting it? And it was explained that, yes, it's 2 different planets that are accessed via secret giant rings, which we have never seen, which are never referenced. But that's the explanation I was given. So it's like the silver thing. I see fans bend over backwards trying their best to make it work when it doesn't, and it makes me sad, There's so much love and creativity within the fandom, and I hate to be the party pooper saying, you're wrong. Kind of wonder if I should just stop. Just kind of say, you know what, if that's what works for you, just go with it. Because I don't feel like anyone is being happy with these answers.
Well, okay, so I guess that means that the warp rings in the movie actually are probably based on something that they were told rather than something that they just made up for the movie. Interesting.
See, I don't know, because yes, that would fit.
Yeah.
But what we've seen of pre-production shows that they were way, way, way off the mark.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Tyson Hess was brought on that things were brought more in line with Sonic stuff. So it's like, I don't know, Kyle. I don't know. I just write the comic book, okay? I don't know. I do what people tell me to do.
And then you get the blame for it.
Yeah, lucky me. Thanks for listening to the Bumblecast.
We're not done yet, though.
I know.
We got 3 more questions. All right, here's one from Toon Man. I had a thought while I was looking up and reading back over these guys. How come the Witch Carters all had board type extreme gear? Was it because it was easier to draw them than having all the biker designs? And if you're able to bring them back for IDW, would you have to change up their designs and possibly give them bikes instead, or keep them the same as they were in the Archie books?
We went with the extreme gear, number one, because that is more generally known than the other gear types. I know there's bikes and sails and skates and blah, blah, blah. But the boards are kind of synonymous with that style of transportation. When you think Sonic Riders, you don't necessarily think of all the vehicle types. You think of the boards first. It's what the Babylon Rogues are mostly known for. That and staging action on the flying surfboards is way, way easier than doing it off of any other shaped craft, because basically they just have to stand up on a 2D plane. You don't have to worry about the bike from multiple angles and how are they steering it, how are they standing on it. It'd be a mess. That said, we did try to theme the boards after their old rides from Tales Sky Patrol. There we go. If they were to come back in IDW, I would wager that they would be under the classic Sonic umbrella, just because that's the only era they've ever shown up. So I don't see them showing up in modern Sonic. If we can't touch the hooligans, I would imagine the witch carters are off limits, at least within the modern setting. Redesign most likely would be on the table. And as for their vehicle shapes, I don't know. I really don't know. It all depends on what we were trying to do with the story and what Sega said about it.
All right, next question comes from Exidel. If you had the opportunity and permission from the big blue boys up top, would you tell a globe-trotting story of adventure in the Sonic universe a la One Piece?
See, I don't know One Piece. I watched like a couple of the first episodes in season 1. I know it exists. I know it's huge. I know there's a Monkey D. Luffy fella who's all stretchy, and the guy who likes to bite on his sword, maybe an angry clown, some kind of Giga Hawaiian shirt Popeye-esque fellow. But that is my experience with One Piece. I don't really know it, and it is too big for me to get into at this point. So I can't really say, yes, I would do it in that style, because I have no idea what that style is. In terms of globetrotting adventures, yeah, I've done that a lot. But in like the One Piece style, I don't know. I know not the piece or how many there are of them.
All I'm wondering is, if there's only one piece, why does it take so long?
Well, try finding one of anything in this wide world, Kyle.
I guess. What are they looking for? What is it a piece of? I don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe that's part of the adventure. It's one piece of what? Your McNugget meal?
Maybe that's why they need to find it.
Your Lego set?
Well, I mean, they just walk around for a bit and they'll eventually find their missing Lego piece. They'll step on it.
There's a lot of ocean, Kyle. I know that much.
I guess. Is that what it's in One Piece? Is a lot of ocean?
Yes.
Okay.
There are boats and pirates and ocean.
I'm into it. You should do that, because I like the pirate books. I like the pirate story in Sonic Universe. But you didn't even write that, so never mind. Anyway, I have
our last question.
There's a question for me. Another one for me.
Yeah. This one comes from Naani to Kyle. Hello, how are you?
I'm okay.
Have you seen any good cartoons lately? If so, any suggestions to watch during the quarantine?
Do old cartoons count?
Whatever you're watching, man. I mean, we're not going anywhere.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, because I don't watch new cartoons very often. The most recent thing I've done is I've started going through Sonic Boom again. I started with season 1 a while ago, and then ended up kind of dropping it and not going back to it, but I just went back to it and just started all over again. So, hey, if you want to watch Sonic stuff, watch Sonic Boom. There's like 3 seasons of it, or just 2?
2.
2. Okay, there's 2 seasons of it. So there's some meat there to keep you occupied for a little while. Also been working my way through the original DuckTales, which has been fun. I would say that's a good one to watch, because there's a lot of episodes of that. It's about 100 episodes of that. And also Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck is fun. There's almost 100 episodes of that to watch too, so that'll keep you entertained for a while. What else? New DuckTales, also very good. There's plenty of episodes of that. So that'll keep you entertained for a while too. Personally, I actually have enjoyed the new DuckTales more than the old DuckTales. It's nice to have fleshed out characters and more plot lines that actually connect, and other fun things. That's really it, honestly. What about you, Ian? Have you seen any good cartoons lately? I mean, you could go back and watch Avatar or Legend of Korra. I like both of those.
Yeah, I honestly haven't watched a lot of TV lately. I haven't played a lot of anything. I've either been working or cleaning or sleeping or wishing I was sleeping.
I do that a lot.
Like, most of my waking fun time hours have been devoted to Tales of Crestoria, which is that is my drug of choice right now. It gets its claws into you, and it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good getcha. It's really unstable right now, but no, I am enjoying it. But if we want to talk about that, we'll start an episode with that.
Yeah, I'm finally, as far as games go, I have finally got into one. Because usually I'm like I don't get into games too often anymore these days. But I picked up Gran Turismo 6. And I'm back into that. I'm just driving around in circles, Ian. That's all I'm doing. Driving around in circles. I mean, they're not all necessarily circular, but you drive around them over and over. And that's it, man. That's it. That's all you do. And I'm into it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as cartoons go, DuckTales and Sonic and Darkwing Duck, there you go. That sounds like a heck of a Saturday morning to me.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We're done.
All right. Before we wrap it up, we're going to give a big thank you to everyone who makes this show possible. Thank you to all our lovely, loyal patrons, including Daniel H., Salute Your Cat, Robotnik Holmes, AWF, Alex M., Jonathan D., Sony, Blue Title Gamer, Koopling Crew, Andrew D., Scruffy Matt, Chris A., John B., Diane W., James K., Jennifer R., Torchbound, Jennifer H., Lisa M., Sonic Legacy, Lauren W., Owen B., Preston M., Yami M., Final Neil, Justin S., Silly String, Takaro, Lee H.K., Overthinking Films, Don B., John M., Chevelle, Mike B., Duaz Dizdin, Samuel P., Alex P., Justin G., David M., and Sam Cybercat.
Lots of new names in there. Lots of old favorites. We love you all. Platonically.
I don't know. It depends on how much money they give.
Oh, you can buy our love. You can do
very easily.
Very easily. Yes, it's true.
Now, to keep the show family friendly, if you want to find me after the show, head over to Ian Flynn BKC on Twitter or BumbleKing.com. That has my release schedule, that has my entire portfolio, and links to Drogoon. That's DROGUNE.com. My ongoing webcomic with Sonic Superstar Adam Bryce Thomas. We update Fridays.
You can check me out over on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also find me over at KNGI.org, where you can find archived episodes of this show, The Bumblecast. You can listen to it in MP3 downloadable format. You listen on any device that plays audio, presumably. Almost any device, at least. Unless your audio player's like really old and only plays like CDs. Normal CDs, not MP3 CDs. Because if it plays MP3 CDs, you might be able to burn this onto a CD and play it. I don't know. Anybody walking around with an MP3 CD player still? Let me know. Because if so, you're cool. I like you. Nitro Game Injection is my other show. You can find that streaming live on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're into video game music and you enjoy the community-made stuff that you find on places like YouTube, Overclocked Remix, and Dwelling of Duels and other places like that, be sure to go check out that show. Especially if you like Sonic music. My most recent episode was dedicated to remixes of Chrome Gadget from Sonic 3. So the entire show, 2 hours of Chrome Gadget. And actually, I was kind of surprised. It flowed together kind of like a DJ mix, and it worked out really well. And I really enjoyed that episode in particular. So if you're looking for something to go listen to, and you like this show, you like the Sonic stuff, and you like Sonic music, go check out that episode of Nitro Game Injection over at kngi.org.
You can contact us and the show itself on Twitter at BumbleCast, via email at bumblecast@yahoo.com, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and kngi.org.
Don't forget to also go check out the Bumble store, get you some Bumble threads or some Bumble gear, and deck out your house or your body with Bumble stuff.
Also catch us streaming games live on Bumblecast Gaming on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Bumblecast Gaming. We typically try to stream Sunday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Other times are variable, so keep your eye on Bumblecast on Twitter.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Bumblecast. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with more of your questions and maybe more of Ian's answers. Maybe.
That will hopefully remain accurate. Eggman's not related to Gerald. Why did I say that? When did I say that?
I don't know.
Who did I say that?
I'm pretty sure you said that because people were freaking out about it. It's another one of those. That's another one of those freak out answers that people were freaking out about, dude.
I can't. But why did I? I don't know why they are. Why would I? When would I? What's the kind? Do you have? I even have any others.
Oh, Scruffy Matt. Oh, you had it. You have it. Sonic Heroes. You could throw Tangle and Whisper into that and then get Jewel as for the flyer. Yep.
Yeah, but I thought that was too easy of an answer. I thought that was the obvious one.
I mean, yes, it is, but I mean, still, it's a good one.
You've been listening to the Bumblecast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
And it was from this family friend / realtor who got me my first place and helped me get rid of it. I haven't talked to her in, 6-7 years.
Whoa.
So it's like, why is she calling me out of the blue in the middle of the afternoon? Has something happened? And she's the only one who can reach me. So I call her back, and I'm trying not to, panic, because why panic before you know what's worth panicking over? And we have this lovely conversation, catch up for a little bit, and she goes, I don't mean to be rude, but why are you calling? And I said, well, I saw you called, and not to be rude, I enjoy your company, but I was wondering why you called me. And she goes, oh, I think I butt dialed you.
I had a feeling that's where this was going when you said that she said, why did you call me?
So,
well, you know what? I guess it's nice to catch up to the people you haven't caught up with in a long time.
I guess it also answered the question of, my folks recently moved.
Right.
And there was no talk of her involved. I'm like, did something happen? And no, she had retired. So.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.